Right, the next one I'm going to be showing you is the set of public toilets that are in Camford Heath. Now, like I mentioned in Wareham, you notice sometimes the handle is kind of in the middle. And this can be quite easily explained that it could be a concealed flushing trough. Now, these ones in Camford Heath were built in 1968, and I've seen two plans of them. One of the plans was refused, and the approved plan had a few alterations. And in the one that was refused, these toilets were actually not going to be concealed, basically. But the alterations revealed that they were. The approved plan showed that they were concealed, which is one that we're looking at now. These toilets were actually built behind a pub, the local pub, so I'm not quite sure what the changes actually were meant to be for, why it's refused in the first place. But I think it's more to do with the pub, but they made a few changes for the toilets, which unfortunately meant they ended up being concealed. But they've got quite similar tilage to a couple of other toilets in Poole from the late 60s, but with stainless steel pans that are probably not original. But the handle was directly in the middle, which is a bit of a hint. Got a very powerful flush there, and also you might have noticed. I'll do it again. You might hear a squeak sound, so I'll turn it up a little bit more. And that squeak as well, I've actually heard that with some flushing troughs. Now, get a little picture up, and this is basically a flushing trough. This picture here is from a set of toilets that used to exist in Kings Park over in Bournemouth. Got demolished quite a few years ago, and they've been closed for a while, but managed to get inside them, which reveals a flushing trough. And as you see, the chain goes down the back. But you notice how close the chain is to the pipe, basically. So if these were concealed, the handle will go directly through the wall. To attach the chain, it'll have to be quite close to the pipe. So if the handle's in the middle, as it is in this video, quite obviously it could very well be a flushing trough. This could be quite a big hint, basically. However, I think that if the flushing trough has a chain, it will be in the middle, but if it's got the lead bars, it might not be necessary to actually have the handle in the middle, due to the arrangement, the layout of the lead bars, which obviously I showed you in that picture. So it can be quite hard to determine what's behind the wall, but it's certainly high level in there, probably a flushing trough. I actually tried to flush it again, but I didn't get much luck. Got a little bit actually, but you can hear that squeak sound, quite a very strong squeak sound as well. But yeah, the rest of it, the tilage, similar to some others. There's the door to the duct, and as usual, try to open it, no such luck. Got your wall gate, stainless steel urinal. Come out the back, and I'll show you from the back as well, which is behind the pub in the car park and other community buildings, all built in the late 60s for Camford Heath, as Camford Heath was developed. And there it is. So that's basically a hint of a concealed flushing trough, basically, and I've seen that in quite a few other videos as well, actually. So it's definitely quite worth looking into that. If the handle's in the middle, it's probably more than likely a flushing trough, basically. But if the handle's not in the middle, it doesn't mean there's not a flushing trough behind the wall. Really depends if they were using the chain or the lead bars or not. Alright, basically this picture here is on Flickr, basically. So I've gone on Flickr, and this is a picture of some disused toilets underneath the main train station in Hull, which is where I went last year. These toilets have been disused since about 1986, I think. Basically the modern ones, the ones that I went in last year, they're pretty dull, so I didn't bother filming them, but they used to be directly underground. As you see, the stairs went down into them. It's in a little photo stream they call Ghost Chasers, so I think they might be trying to catch pictures of ghosts or something. But it shows disused derelict toilets, which haven't been used for almost 30 years. But a few quite interesting things in here, and we'll come back to that picture in a minute. This one here, the first one I was showing you, as you can see, it was a high level, held up on brackets, obviously been removed, unfortunately. So there's definitely been toilets in here since the Victorian times. But quite a good picture in there actually, which looks into them. But yeah, they haven't been used in quite a long time. But I've also noticed, I'll try and find the picture actually of one of the other ones. As you see, this looks into another set of toilets. They've been removed, but you can tell they're concealed. So here's a handle, right, and the handle is pretty much in the middle, almost directly in the middle. Above you there's an air vent, well it might have been an air vent, so you can tell there was a duct behind the wall. So some of the toilets were concealed and some of them were not concealed, so it's a bit confusing really what was going on there at the time. But all of these pictures I've seen on here, this little picture I'm going to get up, I'm wondering if this is a picture of the duct or not. It looks just like a passageway, but you notice here you've got some very faded brick walls, but on this side you see newer brick walls, not too recent, and at the top here you've got air vents and stuff running through. But what's this at the end? I mean, I wonder, is that a flushing trough? Do you reckon it's wide enough to be one? You can't really see what's inside. This is just a guess, you see. But down by the wall, you might not just be able to work it out. See something here was like a pipe attached to this. You can just about work it out there where my finger is. At the end, it's a bit blurred on my phone, but yeah, you can see a few toilet seats and that, old cleaning equipment, and also something up in this corner. I mean, that could be a flushing trough, it might not be, it's a bit curved, you see, but this could be a duct, you see, and I could even see what might be lead bars. So if it was a flushing trough, well, these are bars, or am I just looking at a complete wrong thing? There's another bar here, you see, so that could very well be a duct with a concealed flushing trough, or it might not be, because, you know, I don't really know. I've written a little comment, is this a passage that runs behind the toilets? No one replied. People don't usually reply on this. But again, in the picture of the toilets that were concealed over, trying to have a look, but again you see the handle was in the middle, so if it was a concealed flushing trough and they were using lead bars, perhaps you had to have the handle in the middle if there was lead bars as well. So, you know, I'm asking a lot of questions here, but these are quite an interesting set of pictures actually. I wouldn't mind going down there myself actually, but I don't think it's really easy to access them. But whoever went down there a couple of years ago had quite a bit of fun actually. I know I would have done. And while we're on the Flickr looking at derelict toilets, I found this picture a little while ago. It's quite obviously clearly a set of toilets, apparently in an old hospital. Doesn't say where it was, but I noticed this up along here, you see. It's almost like the entire wall was plastered except for one little bit, and it could very well been a flushing trough up there. It might not have been, but it looks quite like there's a hint of it being. See that there's a little space at the end where it would have ended basically. But you can't see any toilets in there. For all I know, there could have been low levels in there. That was a air vent of some sort. But I quite like that picture, just sort of the shape of it. It kind of tells you what might have been up there. You know what I mean? I can pretty much see one sitting up there as well. So yeah, Flickr is quite a good site to look at derelict toilets as well. Quite a lot of old pictures on there, and some of them places I wouldn't mind visiting myself. So we've got an old Shires there, that picture, and some pretty good places on there. It's a shame they're inaccessible. See, where was that really good one I saw a minute ago? Just scroll through, yeah, see, so you've got an old cast iron there, but basically we'll continue with the concealed theme today, so we'll have a look at these pictures at another date, I think. So today what we've done is we've basically been looking at how the concealed arrangements evolved over the last few years. Pretty much we could say it started back in the 30s. We looked at the restrooms in San Francisco in the 30s, so yeah, the Americans had it. And in my video here is Senate House and University of London, the first skyscraper in the UK. I believe these toilets to have possibly been concealed since the building was built. I could be wrong, but there's a very small duct behind it, a very sort of a little door looking into it. Clearly a high level here. Quite a powerful flush. The pan's obviously a 90s one, looks quite 90s. The push button's not original, but just trying to see, when did I leave this? Had a little room chute, and as I left, there was a little doorway leading just behind there, and another doorway on the other side as well. Got original light switches as well. It's quite good. And yeah, so there's the door to the duct, a very tiny space, but you can hear the cisterns filling up. And on each floor, there was a set of toilets on each floor. They always had a door this side and one the other. So one might have been used for cleaning, one might have been the duct, or not really too sure. I can't find the original plans myself, but that was quite a lucky find. So it's quite hard to really say when did they first start concealing toilets. In the 30s in America, definitely. When I was in San Francisco as well at the time, went to Alcatraz, which is the island. It's has the old historic prison on it, and the prison itself is a tourist attraction. It's been closed as a prison since the 60s, but it was sort of developed. Trying to find the Alcatraz Island in California, which is, I think I've got lost area. It's in San Francisco Bay, up here, and there's the prison. That's not Alcatraz, is it? There. So yeah, so there's Alcatraz, a picture of Alcatraz somebody took. The prison was built over a period of time, but it's a tourist attraction. You go across it by ferry, and you can actually see the old jailhouse building, which was probably built early 20th century, I think, probably about 100 years ago. And between the cells, there's a little passage behind each cell, which is sort of like it's like a duct basically, and you can literally look through the duct when you are in the prison building basically. And apparently what some prisoners did quite a long time ago, they kind of chiselled away into that duct underneath their beds. They made a little hole, crawled through, climbed up the duct, which had all the pipes and all the fixtures, and got onto the roof. No one could escape from the island. But when I was there, I actually sort of looked through that duct, and in the cells, you can look in the cells as well, they have a couple of the toilets left over. Some of them are destroyed, some of them are filled with concrete, but you've also got a button above, so there's had the push button type arrangement, and the system would have been directly behind, and I'm very sure I saw brackets which would have held a cistern at one time. I couldn't see any cisterns, but that building was built around 100 years ago, so at least in prisons they were concealing toilets a century ago. So if anything, you could say the concealed arrangements existed for around 100 years, but in the UK it only really took on in the 50s. So I've obviously got quite a lot of sources from my local area, from other areas as well, seeing sort of how it evolved from a few places to pretty much a lot of places. In Bournemouth, 4 of the schools built in the 50s, including Glenmore, which is the one we looked at earlier, and the South Kingston Junior, which would have been here somewhere. Might be where these houses are. Yeah, I think that's where used to be. Another school here as well. I haven't photocopied the plans. This was a school built in 1956, and they had some of their toilets were concealed as well. And obviously the college from 1957, the extension, which is a bit down here. As I've already told you, toilets were concealed. Ground floor were the ones that were modernised in the, I think, late 80s, early 90s. The top floor ones in 2004. So my only hope is to get into the ones on the first floor. So, like I said, I'm trying to work on that one. I did manage to see into the duct on the ones on the ground floor once as well, and I couldn't actually film them because there were quite a few people in there, but they actually concealed Dauntless. So on the ground floor, the high level flush and trough was replaced with Dauntless cisterns, probably late 80s, early 90s. So again, they were still concealing high levels in the 80s. And for some of you might remember my Salisbury video, when I went to Salisbury last year, about just over almost a year ago, right in the main marketplace in Salisbury. Can't find the marketplace in it, it should be somewhere. They had underground toilets, and these are paid toilets. You put money in, and the attendant presses a button, lets the barrier open, and through the attendant's office I could see loads of concealed Dudley tricycles, black cisterns, and they're probably from the 90s, so still concealing high levels in the 90s. And then of course there was that strange, there was also, I caught it on camera, just try and, yeah, marketplace, so it's there. This is my video. I thought it was low level concealed, not a powerful flush, but just as I left, I noticed through, hold on, where is it? Yeah, that, a little sort of cleaning station. And I caught this on camera. You can't see it on my phone, it's blurred because the phone's light is aiming at the computer, but I managed to see a mysterious concealed high level, but I don't know where it led to, and it might be, well, I couldn't work it out basically. So you get a lot of mysteries when it comes to toilets basically. But so yeah, so high level concealed's been going, well, for about 50 years basically, more than that, and it did continue up until about 20 years ago. So basically when I do go out filming and I see a few conceals, I always try and open the back door, because you never know, one day you could be lucky and you could see what's behind the wall basically. Right, so coming to the end of the video, what I thought I'd do now is I'll just explain some of the things I've got planned coming up quite soon. As you see on Google Earth, we're looking above the Isle of Wight, and plan to go there next week. So today we're on the 31st of January. I'll probably try and get a Monday, so on the 3rd. If the weather's not good, I'll have to postpone it. We couldn't have any more rain than we're having now. So looking up place in the Isle of Wight that I'm planning to go to, I can get there from Lymington myself, so I'll get the ferry over to Yarmouth. Just been looking up a few places basically. A few seem quite interesting. Just have a little look at some of the places I found. The Isle of Wight's, I've never actually been to the Isle of Wight myself. I've quite interested in some of the toilets that are on there actually. They've had a few closures, some reopened. It's quite difficult to get your head around it really. Some are owned by parish councils, some are owned by the Isle of Wight Council. There have been a few refurbs proposed, which is quite worrying, but I don't know if these refurbs even went ahead. There are a couple of good ones on the island, some nice Victorian ones. I won't be getting to them next week because that's down in Shanklin, is it? Shanklin, Ventnor, that's the one. I'll go there later on in the year, but apparently they plan to refurbish a few, but people aren't happy about it because of the loss of original features. But it's a local little one in Yarmouth. Couldn't tell you what's inside, but I'll find out soon enough. So it's just one place I'm going to check out. Late 50s, early 60s. Got a little disabled, might be added later. Different brickwork. These wouldn't be concealed, or I doubt they are, because it's a very small building basically. So I don't think there'd be enough room for a duct. Maybe a tiny little one in the middle or something. There might be low level boxed in. Might even be prison toilets, but it couldn't be any worse than the ones in Eastbourne. So that's one place in the Isle of Wight I'll be going to. Over in Yarmouth, found another one down there somewhere. So you can just about work it out through here. It's hidden behind this wall. I like that little skylight up there. So that's one place I'll be going to. Like I said, it's the first time on the island, so I just need to, I'll only be covering one area. I'll be covering the top end of the island. Place down here, Totland I think it is. Need to try and, forgot the name of the road actually, what I'm looking at. There's one right down here by the pier actually, but I haven't really got my hopes up about these ones yet. a little building here, but the brickwork makes it look newer than it might well be, in that they've replaced the windows. But that's one place I'll be going to next week. Found another potential actually, which is, see, I've got the name of the road actually. I've all got it written down on a piece of paper somewhere, my little action plan that I've got. But I've lost, oh no, it's, was it West Hill Lane? I'll type West Hill Lane in. Oh, I don't know where it's taken me now. Yeah, there's some up here somewhere, but I couldn't really find these ones too well. So maybe that's them, this little building here. I mean, look, a nice little old light. It might not even be the ones I'm looking for though, so I'll find out when I get there. And next ones as well, Colwell Lane, that's the one. Colwell Chine Road, that's it. Just type in. This one's got potential, but it's scheduled for a refurb, unfortunately. So whether we're too late, it really depends on what the refurb's going to consist of as well. But certainly a potential. Very 30s looking building. Sadly, the windows been replaced with these hideous, I mean, don't let any light in, but you can see some high level overflows have been removed, but some still remain. So I've no idea what this is going to be. No idea what that's going to be. Basically, it's one of those you find out when you get there. Hopefully, I won't be disappointed. I mean, I had my hopes up with Exeter, but that kind of turned out to be quite a bit of a letdown actually, which is a shame because I actually liked Exeter. It's I'd happily go back there. Just shame that all the toilets were letdowns basically. Gate Lane's the one, isn't it? So yeah, I found a little potential down here as well, which we're trying to head towards. So this is one of the places I'll be going to next week. There we are, nice potential. Could be anything. High levels, low level boxed in, prison toilets, concealed. So you work out the windows. Maybe if they're concealed, that's the window for it. Might not be. But that's a couple of places on the Isle of Wight I'll be going to. And later on in the year, I'll be trying a few other places out in the island. So we'll zoom out and we've got a few coastal places. Ventnor, which is it's a place called Marlborough Road, which is quite famous, very nice Victorian features. Yeah, they apparently wanted to refurbish these, but people aren't happy about the loss of features. They've got high levels, they've got old tiles. So it's slightly blurred, but you can see the tiles on the floor. I don't know, I think somebody filmed these before, but I couldn't find the video again. Nice old tiles, so that'd be later in the year. It looks like it was actually built into a house or something at one time, so that's a few places on the Isle of Wight. So I've been trying a few places in Dorset as well. Last week I went to Weymouth. I found that derelict one over in the cemetery in Weymouth. But there is a place nearby called Osmington Mills, which is a very tiny village. And I found a potential maintained by the West Dorset Council. There we are, we've got a potential. And if you look, you can actually work out high level overflows. There is. But whether they are still high levels or not, maybe they got taken out, but no low level overflows put in. But sometimes they take out the old high levels and don't put new ones in. I mean, they take out the high levels, they leave the overflows, but don't put new overflows in. So be quite interesting to get to. I've got to figure out how to get there and get back as well. I can do it in most of the day really. So yeah, it says Osmington, and Bournemouth's only over here. So that's somewhere I'll be going to in February. Also Oxford, there's another cemetery in Oxford, one or two other places. I'll be going to. And what I'll do is I'll get my, see, where is it? There, my folder. Just wait for it to load. And here we've got a place of list of the places I'll be going to. So Portsmouth, Gosport I've done. Southampton I haven't done yet. We'll do it another time. I'll be going back to London in March on a Sunday. A couple of potentials that may only be open on a Sunday. Wales I'm going to in March. If you see my other tutorial, you see I've already done research in Wales. I've got Brighton as well in March. And I'm going to get a bus to Eastbourne. Last time I went to Eastbourne I was disappointed. All my old favourites have been replaced with low levels, but there is said to be one more potential left, and that's kind of between Brighton and Eastbourne. I can get to it by bus. Stubbington has potential. Fareham that'll be in April. Bristol, I did do more research in Bristol and so on, so I should hopefully find a high level at least once a month this year. Some of them are potentials I'll be going to, but probably most interesting, I'll be going to the Newcastle area, which would be July. And I've already done research, I've done my action plan, and so far I've got 40 locations to visit. So this is basically a brief of my action plan, and I'll be staying in Whitley Bay, around Whitley Bay. I'll be going to places like Blythe, which is north of Whitley Bay, places like Tynemouth, also South Shields, Sunderland, Roker, and Newcastle itself. A few places I really can't wait to get to, actually. And it's mostly unfilmed territory, so no one really knows what's up there at the minute. So if you saw my tutorial, you might have seen I found a potential in Roker, which is it Roker or is it Rocker? I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but I found a nice set of underground ones which are still open. Well, they should be. Yeah, so I found these ones which I'll be looking forward to going to. And quite a lot up the coast, a lot of cemeteries as well, and quite interestingly most of them are in the same area. All the good ones seem to be in the same area, whereas all the ones that I'm avoiding aren't actually in that area, so it could be quite straightforward basically. So I found an interesting one. It might be a concealed one again. But yeah, so that's quite typical of the later 60s into the 70s. Very long building. But it'd be quite interesting to go inside. You see the 60s had its own look, which was quite bizarre, but it wasn't all bad that time. It wasn't all bad in the 60s. So there's a few places I'll be going to there as well. And there's another one as well I found along the seafront somewhere, but it was quite an attractive one. I called it quite a classy looking building. It was a classy building from the 60s. I'll try and find it somewhere. Was it this little building down here? No, that wasn't it. Yes, that's a shelter that goes right underneath. So I'm not familiar with this area at all, so it's going to be quite interesting really getting up here and finding all the locations and obviously doing a spot of filming. There we are, found it. It's in an area called Marsden. It's quite a nice looking building really. You've got some blue tiles outside, probably built in the 60s, maybe even the late 50s. I'll say early 60s perhaps. It might be concealed as well, but if you look above, it's quite a narrow building, so if there is a duct, it's either running all the way along the back or through the middle. They look closed in the picture because I think these only open in the summer. And this was taken, the imagery dates November 2008, so they won't be open in November, but that's a small example of what will be happening throughout the year basically. I'll be going back to Kent as well, still places to film out there which I didn't get to do last time. I'll be going to Manchester as well later in the year, which I'm quite looking forward to, so that should be quite interesting. I've actually found a few potentials in the Manchester area. So despite the fact they've had quite a lot of closures, I'm determined to find something. I'll always find something good in the end. Um, so that's basically it from the toilet side of things. Got a new channel coming soon for my music. I'm not going to say too much about my music yet, but that'll be on a different channel, so I'm going to try and set that one up. Basically, I'd also be doing a few more tutorials. So obviously, I'm quite keen to do a tutorial based on the flushing trough. Well, no, I won't call it a tutorial. It'd be a discussion basically. So try and find it in the folder. So, and then we'll talk about what we're seeing in this picture here, basically. So we'll end the video on a good note, just having a look at it. It's a pretty good picture.